Hello everybody and welcome back to another update video for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, where after a couple weeks of no new beta builds, we have a hefty one today. This is SimUpdate3's beta build of 1.5.7.0. Before we get to the release notes, there's a couple things I want to mention, so let's dive into that real quick. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 Flighting Update 1.5.7.0 is on track to be released to the public flight groups on all platforms today. Please note, due to some last-minute delays with our publishing pipeline, it may still be several hours before the update shows up. We are working to resolve the issues with the publishing pipeline now, but are posting these release notes in advance as it's unclear precisely when the update will become available. And yeah, it's almost 11 o'clock at night, I still don't have the update, so that's fine. I'll just go to sleep, wake up, have a fantastic weekend with a brand new beta build, so I can't complain. Multiple active investigations are in progress for the performance issues reported on SimUpdate 3, but we need your help. We're continuing to narrow down cause of performance issues and have added additional telemetry to the latest SU3 flighting update to aid our investigation. Please note, 1.5.7.0 will cause severe performance degradation around large airports and when restarting flights, most severe on Xbox Series X and Series S. However, the data and feedback you provide is critical to solving these issues. I'm going to have a picture of this, but if you no longer wish to participate in the SimUpdate 3 flighting, please follow the steps at the bottom of this message to opt out. Thanks so much for your continued support, the Microsoft Flight Simulator team. You are welcome. So again, if you want to see this and you're trying to get out, just pause the video here, and you can follow those steps for the Microsoft Store or Steam. One more thing before the release notes, please note that the new build includes a stability tracker which should have no noticeable impact on performance. If and when you notice too much VRAM being used, please complete the following steps. Take a screenshot with DFPS enabled, and send the report to the developers by navigating to Options, General, Experimental, and Create a Report. For stability and performance, fix the Controls menu to cache data and prevent unnecessary file loads when navigating, only loading input profiles when entering the menu tab, switching aircraft, or creating, duplicating, or renaming a profile. My voice is already dying and we're not even in the first thing. Fantastic. Fixed several old and rare crashes in the stall warning simulation system, and fixed a crash occurring in the model behavior parser when canceling a request. General bug fixes fixed font rendered as square during mission onboarding, fixed sim rate with time, added precisions for time and offsets, added new offset to get flight time without sim rate modifications, fixed adaptive liveries does not adapt to Japanese language when it should, fixed time doesn't work with sim rate, fixed the profile page that was not appearing during flight if open with the keyboard or the gamepad, reduced the opacity of the glass dust layer, fixed an issue where some option lines could have wrong visuals after being clicked, fixed an issue where choosing a departure in free flight would not zoom on the world map. Fixed VR cockpit camera position resetting when leaving pause. Fixed look around mouse feature to allow player to keep aircraft inputs while moving the camera. Allowed the player to lock their input presets. Changed new plane flares on interior lights to be disabled by default. And fixed potential crash when ATC attempts to look for appropriate star to assign for clearance. Backwards compatibility bug fixes fixed UV length not being computed correctly when GITF geometry is reused. Aircraft fixed sim object light's position not properly initialized when LOD containing the node to attach to is not available yet. Fixed crash and object follow graph AI when a navigation graph node is destroyed before AI or AI destroyed before the node. Sounds like a whole battle going on there. I love reading some of those things, just like, what am I reading? And modified wait for pilot and co-pilot to create a mandatory procedural character. Moving on to some aircraft fixes, the Air Tractor AT802 fixed dampening on front wheels of float variations, and fixed an issue causing some circuit breakers to not properly affect the windshield wipers and their associated lights. The Airbus Helicopters H125 fixed cockpit emissive being too bright in LODs. The Airship Industry Skyship 600 made water ballasts functional. The Boeing 737 MAX 8 fixed a flight path vectorization issue involving certain procedures with intercept legs. Added RTE uplink in the CDU. And fixed an issue where airplane speed was not being anticipated correctly in lateral flight path calculations. The Grand Caravan increased yaw dampener gain to fix Dutch roll with autopilot. The DG1001E fixed an issue causing the landing gear keybinds of the DG1001 not to work when they were using up-down keys instead of toggle. And fixed an issue causing the DG1001's tow cable to become unreleasable if it was already released by the tow plane. The Diamond DA62 fixed the thumbnail for all variations. Aircraft core systems failure wear and tear fixed damage resistance of helicopter tails and skids. Fuel system fixed some inconsistencies on the fuel system debug window and fixed an issue that prevented gravity-based fuel transfers in some cases. Glass Cockpits G1000NXI fixed a flight path vectorization issue involving certain procedures with intercept legs and reduced PFD memory usage. For the Garmin G3000 and G5000, I'm going to keep skipping the flight path vectorization issue because it seems like it's popping up for everything, and there's no point in reading it over and over again. So, fixed an issue where pressing the terrain settings button on the GTC's PFD map settings page would not correctly open the settings pop-up. Same fix for the GNS 430 and 530. The Primus Epic 2.0 fixed an issue where the airplane speed was not being anticipated correctly in the lateral flight path calculations. The Proline 21 integrated avionics system reduced PFD memory usage and fixed an issue where airplane speed was not being anticipated correctly. Okay, it looks like we're getting a lot of the same things here. The UNS 1EW SBAS flight management system, same stuff there. For things like physics, I'm not going to read through those. I'll just leave it up on the screen for a little bit. You can pause it if you want to dive into it if you're a developer and you want to kind of see some more back-end fixes for you. Moving on to the EFB, fixed an issue where in some cases of arrivals with en-route transitions, the route string produced circular routing near the transition start. Fixed an issue where arrival procedures in the route string had an extra number at the end. Fixed an issue where aircraft cruise performance was not calculated correctly when using performance profile data. Fixed map position not centered on aircraft when starting a flight. Fixed an issue where auto-routing picked procedures that were longer than the entire route. Automatically computed cruise steps will no longer target cruise altitudes below the highest VNAV above descent constraint in the flight plan. Route string will now omit DCT between two custom waypoints, coordinates and PBD. Changed cruise altitude warning to yellow. Warning is now hidden if route is incomplete. Automatic initial cruise altitude selection will now prioritize respecting the airplane's maximum cruise altitude over respecting flight plan VNAV constraints. Locked waypoints are displayed with a padlock on the map. Map will be centered on the current flight plan every time the origin and arrival airports are selected. And added speed and altitude restriction information to the route page. Similar to physics, I'm just going to have a picture up here for aircraft tech, model behavior, and modular aircraft. Under aircraft gameplay and ATC, fixed a bug where the response to an arrival clearance with star could be mismatched with the clearance given. Adjusted climb descent gradients for aircraft not providing performance data for better descent estimation. Added expected altitude to IFR clearance. Improved initial altitude clearance on departure using published top altitude, SID, or safe terrain values. Fixed a bug where the request IFR clearance options were available without filed IFR flight plan. And stopped traffic callouts to AI aircraft clogging the frequency. Some fixes to passive aircraft. Passive airliners generates contrails in the sky. That's pretty cool. I love that. Fixed MD10-30F liveries issue. Fixed A350-900 and A350-1000 livery issues. Fixed the B757, the Beechcraft family, A320, A310, Citation 1 and 2. Fixed LOD issue on Bonanza family planes. And improved LOD transition on Bonanza family plane. For career, general bug fixes fixed refuel to full capacity not working in freelancer mode, and fixed parasite grame between some screens in My Companies. Under missions, aerial construction rotorcraft fixed player character not able to move at beginning of the mission, and added condition to prevent pickup while landed. Cargo transport hook rotorcraft added dialogues when damaging the cargo during deposit, and fixed flight plan altitude for oil rig missions. Search and rescue hoist rotorcraft fixed several visual issues on back on track during search and rescue hoist mission. One thing for certifications, the CPL commercial pilot's license rotorcraft added taxi to gate flow. For online services weather, fixed an issue that caused higher than expected lightning intensity. Strikes are now less frequent, and more in line with reality, from 1,000 strikes per minute average to 80 strikes per minute average for severe storms. Fixed an issue where the clouds on the world map did not transition correctly after a data update, and improved thunderstorm prediction. Love all that. I mean, it was cool seeing the Armageddon thunderstorms that were going on, but great to see some changes already to it, because the thunderstorms are awesome now. If you haven't flown in it yet, be sure to dive into this new beta build and check it out, because it's awesome. Streaming fixed the game freezing when attempting to stream some packages due to sound.xml being in a folder which name did not start with sound. For airports, fixed wrong ICAO for generic, oh boy, Kaituo International Airport to SYKA. Fixed missing buildings and parking areas for LaGuardia Airport. That's awesome to see, because that was definitely one that was weird. It was very empty. And then we have a couple things on the dev side where state not changed if passengers are forced while cabin service isn't in a boarding state with a default state, and fixed a displacement caused by incorrect airport SDF. Hangars fixed aircraft not being inside the hangar and mission briefing screen. And air traffic fixed AI planes not disappearing when close to the player. My Library added notifications to keep the user informed about the progress of their download of their packages through My Library, and added a download options for packages in My Library. Multiplayer modified multiplayer character to always be on the ground, and fixed liveries are not applied in multiplayer mode. Virtual Reality has added interaction with cockpit touchscreens, avionics, EFB on supported VR controllers with the following new actions, mapped by default: touchscreen interaction primary, touchscreen interaction zoom in, and touchscreen interaction zoom out. Fixed missing icons for some VR controller inputs, and fixed the toolbar that sometimes disappeared when leaving the VR mode. Controls added following actions to interact with cockpit touchscreens, same thing we already just read. Mapped by default on VR controllers and gamepads, cursor mode is no longer needed for the latter. Move the keybind primary-secondary toggle to the top of the action setting page. Added cockpit free look off and cockpit free look on to allow control on the surfaces while looking around. Both actions are now mapped to the default mouse preset instead of toggle cockpit view free look hold, with on triggering on, press, and off on release. Description of toggle cockpit view free look hold has been changed to specify that surfaces aren't controllable while it is toggled on. Moving on to peripherals, various peripheral fixes added control over some menu scroll bars, marketplace, my library, career, time selection, when navigating on keyboard with open brackets, close brackets, page up, and page down. Activities and training fixed wrong engine settings after a back on track in the beginning of the training, fixed 0% scoring for releasing the tow cable in glider arrow tow training, fixed wrong flight plans being displayed in basic handling trainings in EFB. And we've reached the bottom. This is the DevMode stuff, scenery editor, visual effects editor, SDK, a bunch of things. I don't know what I'm reading off, so I'll just have some pictures scroll through that, and you can pause it and check those out as usual. And 25 minutes later, we've gone through the 1.5.7.0 release notes. Again, let me check really quick. I'll do a live check, because I'm sure everybody cares. No update still. So it's past 11 o'clock. Again, I don't care. I'm just going to go to bed anyways, and then wake up to a new beta build, hopefully. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Again, I'll have this all chaptered out, so if you're looking for specific things, you can just scrub along the scroll bar and see specific categories that we dive into. So again, thank you guys so much for all the support on Flight Sim on the channel, and I hope this was informative as always. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.